40 to 60 hours a week towards football, and there's still no guaranteed seat at the table. With all the dedicated and passionate football players out there, the ultimate goal is to make it to the NFL. Commitment is an understatement to describe what it takes to make it that far. The NFL draft should be diminished to better value the game itself and respect the personal lives of all the hardworking athletes. In the article, Time to Give Football Players a Say, Dave Zirin, the sports editor at The Nation, argues that an NFL player doesn't have enough independence. First, Zirin demonstrates the value of independence. For example, he writes how athletes commit 40 to 60 hours a week to football yet don't have control on where they live and play. Next, he refers to a comparison of the past and future of the NFL. Zirin states, "You'd still have horribly run organizations with arrogant owners making terrible choices. The difference would be players have a modicum of choice and a raise in salary, and the opportunity to actually be treated like athletes." Finally, Zirin makes statements that lack logic to support the abolition of a player draft. He writes that 18-year-old men are told where to live and restricted to a salary for the next 4 years, when in reality, football careers only last 3.5. Dave Zirin believes the lack of an NFL draft would be better for the athletes and their personal desires. Likewise, in the article, the NFL draft is a manufactured obsession, former athlete Bill Curry expresses how overrated the draft has become. First, Curry provides personal ties to what players actually think about the draft. For example, he states, "Even my teammates who were high draft choices were not very interested." Next, Curry portrays the reality of the draft by stating how the high seeds get less than 15 minutes of fame, while in contrast, the lower drafted players drown in self-pity by being selected in unimportant rounds. Likewise, Brian Goff continues this argument in his article, More Free Agents. For example, Goff cites facts to back up the difference between the first 2 rounds compared to the last 2. He writes, while 75 to 50% of first and second draftees end up as starters in the NFL, only 9% of 6th and 7th round draftees will start. Both Curry and Goff illustrate the overhype of the draft and how cutting the amount of rounds can enhance the game. Conversely, in the article, "The NFL Draft is Fine," Michael Tillery argues the draft and its importance to football. First, Tillery describes the significance of the draft on television. He writes, "It was seen by 12.4 million viewers on ESPN and NFL Network combined." Next, he compares the draft to holidays to make it relatable to every reader. He illustrates that the Super Bowl is Christmas and the draft is New Year's Day, thus ranking it as an important day in the football calendar. Finally, Tillery portrays the importance of every pick in the draft. He writes, "The last pick has a chance of success despite waiting 7 rounds outside the spotlight as Mr. Irrelevant." Tillery contradicts Bill Curry and others to prove the value and popularity of the NFL draft. In conclusion, the NFL draft is unnecessary to the sport loved by many. The draft restricts players' salaries and forces them to live in a city that they have no control over. The absence of a draft would reward players' hard work in return of an option of choice and right to freedom. It's about time these men get treated like adults and not little kids living under someone's consent.